Hi there, my name is Abigail Morrison, and this is my case study over family involvement for Class AEP 880. Let's start off with, let's look at who is involved in this case study. First off, we have the student Joel, Pham, the guardians, Mr. and Mrs. Pham, the teacher, Mr. Rolnick, Miss Smith, a supporting teacher, and Miles, the student involved in the group project. What's going on with this? We are in a school system where family involvement is being incorporated to help with student success. And we have a family, a Vietnamese family that was raised in the US, so the language barrier is not relevant here. And with this, we have the Pham family, this is the Vietnamese family, and they are bypassing any volunteer work at the school. The ironic thing is that Miss Pham's job will pay the employees to go volunteer at the school, and she is still bypassing any involvement within the building. And then we look at this, and we are coming to the point now where Joel would like to take part in a group project. And Mr. Rolnick, the teacher, would like to have a meeting with the Pham family at the building along with the other family to discuss the roles of each child within this project to make sure they are equally balanced. After contacting and explaining that, Mr. Rolnick's schedule is flexible, he is willing to work with the family on a time they can come to school. The Pham family is still choosing to have the discussion at home. They do not want to enter the school. They do show up for parent-teacher conferences, so it's not the fact that they won't enter, it's just they do not want to volunteer. They are not comfortable volunteering. Mr. Rolnick, who is now a tad bit frustrated, unsure why they won't volunteer, and why they are refusing to come in to have a meeting for their child. And so he seeks out advice from a supporting teacher as to what does she think he could do to help this situation. And she advises that they have never been involved, and that their past experiences with the school may not have always been positive. And she does refer to the fact that Mr. Rolnick, could be approaching them and causing them to think back on how their experiences was and approaching them in the same manner they had been approached in the past. And so in the end, we have a teacher who is trying to reach out to this family, a family who's not really buying in. They don't want to do the volunteer work, which is also always frustrating as a teacher. But then we have the teacher who is sitting there and is going to reevaluate and try to find an approach to work with this family. And so that's kind of where we leave it, a little background on it. And so moving on, we have question number 1. Mr. Rolnick provided various opportunities for students' parents to volunteer, but Miss and Mr. Pham did not volunteer in these ways. Ms. Smith suggested that one reason for their lack of participation might be their own experiences as students in the school. So when we look at this, let's see, what other factors may be keeping them from volunteering? You do have that relationship between the school and the family lacking. There's something there, something that either happened in the past, and then so we have to kind of look into that and see, like, do some digging a little bit, communicate with other people in the building. Do you know of anything? And try to start fresh, try to build that new relationship with them, get to know them a little bit. And then the lack of clarity with information being brought home. You never know how information is taken home from a student to a parent, if there is a misinterpretation of things. So that's one thing that could be happening. Parents' confidence in communication or involvement skills is low. Maybe those parents aren't, maybe they don't have that confidence to go in and speak about academic things. and then maybe they don't know how to, maybe they don't, the social interactions. So sometimes socialization is hard for people. And so to take that into consideration, and then lack of understanding the purpose of parent involvement. The question is, why do parents have to be involved? Why do they, maybe they do not understand why they are pushing for this. They don't understand that student achievement can go up from this when they show that they are supporting their child and helping them at more than just at home. And then we look at my personal experiences on this. I do teach kindergarten, so one big thing is the lack of preschool. We have parents that don't send their kids, and then they get here and it's like, oh no, well, they didn't have preschool. That seems like a common little like cop out. Maybe that's bad terminology. But then we also have, well, they never went to daycare. So then their social skills. These kids don't know, they don't know how to talk to one another. And so sometimes the parents are like, oh, well, they never had any social skills, so they pull away. So the support is kind of gone. They think we're being too hard on the students. And then we have our helicopter parents, the ones that are over the top, and they want to know everything. And it seems like that kid is under a microscope constantly. And then we have those attached children, the ones that we have to pull off the parents every single day because they do not want to come to school. And so building that relationship to try to get that kid to trust us. And then one big thing that we have right now that stands out a lot is that kindergarten should just be for play only. We do have some parents that are firm believers that kindergarten, their students should not be learning as much as they are right now. It's too hard. And so we get a lot of pushback from that, and that why aren't they playing? Why are we not allowing them to use their imagination all day long? And so that's sometimes a balance because kindergarten has changed so much over the years. And then parents lack confidence in teaching the children. They don't know the little things like it seems innocent, but the letter sounds. Sometimes parents struggle with teaching their kids that. And then the iPad is a big one. A lot of the skills are being taught from a screen rather than like the face-to-face communication. And then so as we move forward, our second question is, how should Mr. Rolnick and other teachers and administrators reach out to parents and other caretakers who might have experienced school as a hostile environment when they were students? So personal experiences, families lack confidence with academic skills. Maybe school was hard for them. It was hard for them, so they want school to be easy for their kids, but they don't know how to help them. Families won't volunteer. They don't want to seem like the helicopter parents. Kindergarten, they're the first time parents. They want to help, but they're like, oh no, we don't want to be that way, and so they pull back. And then students, I do have a student right now. I am in the process. He is throwing a fit absolutely every day, and we are on our second semester. And I'm talking screaming all the way into school, screaming in the morning, and the parents who one is a business owner here in town, they're now to the point where they're taking it as they did something wrong, and they're embarrassed. So they are like, they try to stay away from the school, and we're trying to get that like, hey, no, we're willing to help you relationship, and don't be embarrassed. And then recognizing the barriers, let's reflect on the past experience and interactions we've had with that family, and then their past experiences in this school. See if you could reach out to those old teachers and those older teachers and see, hey, what was your run-in with them as students? And then opportunities for the family to be involved outside of academics. Find a way, create a opportunity for them to share about their culture, or give them a chance to be themselves rather than a pressured academic situation. And then eliminate the situation from occurring. Some things that you could do is a welcome letter, the home delivery, go greet them face to face, go to them, or even mailing it. And then family questionnaires, get to know a little bit of the insight on their background, their home language, and some of the characteristics about that family. Parent-teacher conferences are always a good one. That's a two-way communication. You can really judge, the how the relationship is building. And then class communication platforms, you could use Seesaw, Remind, Class Dojo. Those are good instant ways of getting a hold of parents. And then overall, just build relationships with them. Reach out, have those conversations, make contact prior to needing something. I feel like that's a big one. Parents oftentimes only think that teachers call them when something bad has happened. Call and have a good thing, have the positive reinforcement phone calls. And then question number 3 is Mr. Rolnick appeared to assume because they didn't take advantage of the family involvement opportunities, he created that Mr. and Mrs. Pham were just disinterested in their son's education. Parent involvement, two-way communication, face-to-face, go outside and meet them. If he walks home, maybe walk home with them, talk to him on the porch, make it a phone call goes a long way sometimes. Do your best you can do to get them to talk in any manner. And then positive reinforcements for student success. Tell them to say good job, be interested, get to know what he is doing well, and keep reinforcing that at home. And then Joel might build on that for even in school. And then communication platforms again, and then show support with the academic decisions. As a parent, push them to understand what's going on with academics at school and help try to understand what decisions need to be made and then help him make those decisions. And so that just shows support rather than in the uncomfortable situations at school, they are supporting him from home. And so then that way he can go home and feel like he is still being supported both ways. And then personal experiences with this. Parents with varying education backgrounds. I have parents that are business owners, and I have parents that have, not to be mean, but have never had a job in their life, and that's different. It's different views, and so you have to find that happy medium, and you have to work with each parent differently, each family differently. Each relationship is going to be different. And then parents who are non-English speaking, attending events. We have a district-wide kindergarten roundup, and this year we invited the entire town. We have 5 elementary schools and 2 preschools, and we had every parent of a preschooler or kindergartner in one room, and we had to work with translators for the first time. And so really understanding that each person, each family is different, and understanding their culture, it's hard, but it's doable. You just have to be willing to step out of the comfort zone sometimes. And then parents with negative thoughts due to past experiences with other staff members. I have heard this with, oftentimes I get students with older siblings that have had run-ins with other teachers, and they'll bring it up. They'll bring it up at conferences. Well, we don't want this to happen again with this like it did with this teacher. And so working through that to try to rebuild that relationship. So because the kids hear that negative talk, and you don't want that to rub off on them, and then them start thinking that way. And so trying to build that new positive relationship each year with the family is really important, I feel like. So overall, this is a very realistic case study, and sad, but this happens often. And so just building relationships and getting that communication going, and understanding what those families, that culture is behind those families. And then again, understanding our culture. We're different, making sure that we aren't crossing any barrier, that we can cross those barriers one at a time. We're not tackling all of them at once. And so I do feel like this was a very real case study. And so, yeah, so thank you very much.